Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Um, Let me just go ahead and get that music going again here. It's thought it would work automatically, and it wasn't. There we go. Oh, hang on, it doesn't look like it is coming through here. Uh, that. Hang on a second. Why is that? Give me 1 second here. That should be the right window. Okay. If I go over here, I should be able to click that and testing. Give me 1 second here. Okay, hang on. Okay, well, I'm gonna just have to figure that out off off screen. So I guess we'll just leave that off. Actually, I shouldn't have anything being coming through on that channel. So if I just no, that's showing way too high. No, I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it. Okay, so all right. Well, when last we left off, we were going through many of the ancestries and their information that I had written up for the Underkeeper tabletop RPG that I've been in development of since January of 2023. If you know about that time period, you know. So let's just kind of jump back into this. So one of the things that we were looking for last time. So right now, let me just kind of break down what you're seeing in front of you here. On the left side is kind of my updated version of the rule books. It's all of my I've got all the tabs here so that I can go to different chapters as needed. Sans classes, which have to be their own separate one, just due to Google's limitation on the number of tabs on the side here. So last time we were going through some of the different ancestry informations. And so while this is my current version of the game, the tabs on the right here are previous versions that I've kind of collected into one large document here, or four to be precise. And so we were looking for the table for half ancestries so that I can kind of bring that over because that is something that is coming over basically unchanged. Uh, so let's just. Okay. So part of this has the text here, but it's not showing the table. As far as layout and organization goes, I put the table kind of up front with the rest of the other ancestries. So that way, when you choose to play, like, let's say a half dwarf, you get all of the stuff there, and then it says you go back to this one table. So just having the one table instead of copying it for all of the different half ancestry options here, you will. It's one, it saves page space. Two, it just is a centralized resource that if we need to update it in future books, it's just going to be a drag and drop replacement. Um, I don't foresee that needing to happen, but theoretically. You know what? Let's just where I think we have a for drafting. No, that's. I don't think this is it. But let's just check. Yeah, this is a version of our current, so we're just going to go ahead and pass over this. I don't trust this, but let's. I don't think this is the right file. It's not. Actually, wait. That very well could have been. I was seeing the chapter header, not the stuff one tab down. There we go, and it wouldn't be here, would it? No, that's at least that's what I thought. Okay. Um. This is the one I think it is. This was my ancestries document for forever. Okay, we're just gonna. I think it's time we just create a new one because actually, one thing that needs to be checked that I haven't we should check our publishing software because I did try and put together some, actual playtest versions and whatnot. Let's go ahead and take a look there, just as a final option. I might have opened the wrong version of this software, but we'll find out. It will tell us. Let's just go ahead and kind of stick that over there to the right. Actually, doesn't matter. Let's. I'm going to go ahead and get Affinity 2 ready to go just because I think I'm. Yeah. Or. Yeah, we want ancestries. Go ahead and do that. Thank you. I know. All of this for one table, but it had useful bits of information that I'm not looking to create right now. I am looking to find. Please open. Ancestries. Well, you're giving me more hope than the other one did. Yup, it's from a later version. Thank you. Let's just close you down. Thank you for your service. And let's just get this opened here. So how's everyone's days been going? Um, all right, all right. And go. Come on, you're almost there. You see, in an alternate timeline, these streams and such would be plugging all of this information from Google Docs into Affinity here, because that's kind of what I was doing for building the playtest and prototyping documents for the game. And that's probably something that will be happening later on. But for right now, I want to try and keep everything to one location because separating it up has been frustrating to say the least, as you're seeing here with my inability to find this one table. Okay, there we go. This here. This is what we're looking for. Let's just go ahead and dock that window right there. And begin the editing process. So, character ancestries. The description of each ancestry includes biological traits that are common. Okay, so this is the features that we had mentioned before. Age is typically considered adult as well as the expected lifespan. This is basically good. Most of this is coming from 5e. It's useful. It's very good language. Playing a small character. This is a sidebar. Yep, it already says that, so we're going to go ahead and bring that slightly over formatting wise to a tab of 0.25. Small characters shorter in stature, advantage, disadvantage, hide more easily, sneak into tight spaces, underestimated by larger foes, that's good. Adroit weapons, when you wield a weapon with that property, allowing it to be wielded with one or two hands, it is a two-handed weapon for you. Good. Hiding. When you take the hide action, your ability to sneak around. Full or this isn't an ability. So that's gonna need to get. Okay. Speed, yeah, fine. Mixing ancestries, so that is going to be our table over here that we just dug up and found. Traits of main ancestry option. Boom. That's yes. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this hiding rule here. So we have yet to formalize space sharing mechanics in this game. I think it's going to be if you're a medium creature, you can. I'm thinking that it's okay. Sorry, I'm once again. This is the live game development um, process here. My current thought process here is you can share your space with a creature that is two sizes larger than you um, or bigger, and you can hide in a shared space if it's one size. I thought because like one of the things I'm kind of going for here is like this is a goblin putting a person like in between them and fire. So hiding when you take the hide action. Okay. Actually, let's just start typing it out and let's just spell out what it is that we are looking for, what it is we're going for here. All creatures can share space with another if they are two sizes larger than you. If they are at least, I should. So yeah, that would be tiny creatures sharing space with medium creatures and the like, but they wouldn't be able to share space with small creatures. Um, so maybe this is just going to be a case of if you're trying to hide behind a monster, or if you're a small creature trying to hide behind another humanoid, I think you just get advantage tier 1 when you're hiding behind something. So I think that this is just going to be a standardized rule. And so that it doesn't need to be here. But we're gonna go ahead and throw in a comment here. So it grants you advantage D1 on the hide action check. Creatures can share spaces if they are 2 sizes smaller than other creature. Tiny shares space with medium. There we go. All right. So now we've got that note for kind of our future work here. But let's go ahead and bring over the mixed parentage table that we just uncovered. Okay, so it is 2 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to go a couple more than that. Okay, so first thing is we're going to merge these cells here. This is the mixed parentage table. Boom, boom. Okay, so and set that to 2 there. That should be fine. So our options for the mixed parentage table here, these are going to be slightly more than our ancestry options here, just because some like if we're coming from like 5e perspective on things, I don't know if some ancestries really bring enough uniqueness to the table if they're not, because they just kind of seem like you're a human plus, you're an elf plus. And so I think that this would be a good way of doing that. So you take the human ancestry base and then you add on your elementals, and that gives you your Ganassi. Generally speaking, like there are, I'm sure there are ways that that works, but that's kind of my current thought process here. So Ganassi is not going to be its own ancestry. It's going to be the result of taking either like the human or the elf and like adding an elemental. Um, so we have dwarf, we have elemental air, we have elemental water. Oh no, earth comes first. Stupid me. It's alphabetized. Elemental fire, elemental water. There we go. Now we have the elf here. And the neat thing about this is you can kind of create like a half elf two different ways. You can create them as you take the half elf and then maybe they're half dwarf, half all of the other things. But we're just going to say human for the sake of this. So you can take half elf and then your mixed parentage table result is half, it gets the human ability. Or you can go to the demi-human, get the kind of base human ability, get a couple of the base human abilities, and then get the elf ability here. And so it's each of them are slightly different. So you could actually theoretically do like two siblings, both of the union of elves and humans, but their mechanics are slightly different. And I think that that is healthy. I think that that is interesting. It is a good thing that you have the character customization that you can have you know differences, like not all half elves get XYZ, not all humans have the same traits, or like and such, so you can get some genetic diversity from just character creation. um all right, so doppelgangers don't really work that way, neither do fawns. Goblin, that is definitely one of them. So that's gonna golem, nope. Halfling, I am not gonna put halflings on here. Just I don't. Yeah, no. uh three quarter slings, just the phrasing of that frustrates me to no end, so I think I'm going to omit halflings. Here we have humans already. Giantkin, that is one of the new ones. Revenant, no. Seraph, character that's half angel or half celestial. You see, I'm not sure. Seraphs and tieflings seem like they would be good fits here. But I don't think that that is. No. No, I think that they're. I don't think that that's going to be useful here. Okay, so we've got this table here. So characters who are let's go. We're just gonna stick with saying human, who are demi-human, and their other parentage is half dwarf. They are going to get tremor sense. Okay, come on. Let's go ahead and get that text in here. Boom. There we go. The annoying thing is copy and pasting doesn't like maintain. Sense cannot detect incorporeal creatures. Boom. There we go. Boom. This here is going to get bolded for formatting purposes. 30 feet of tremor sense, provided the source is in contact with the same ground or substance. There we go. Creatures in this manner, size and locations of creatures within tremor sense radius, or have the pack tactics. That's what disrupts it. That is also going to get italicized. There we go. Elemental air. You get a cantrip. All right, and gust gets italicized there. Elemental earth. You also get a cantrip. How you get mold earth. I don't like these ones for fire and water. Um, just because these are much more powerful. So here, my older version of this says elemental fire gets heat tolerance. You have resistance to fire damage, and water gets cold tolerance, which is resistance to cold. So I'm thinking in order to do this better, we're gonna just stick with the giving cantrips. Um, okay, you can cast the produce flame cantrip. And then I'm going to just make a note that there we go. All right, an elemental water. Um, would create or destroy water. I don't believe is a. Hang on. Let's go ahead and pull up our SRD here. Because we're gonna keep most of the spells from 5e. Just because it is useful. Now, not every class is going to use them. In fact, most of them aren't. Where are you? Control water. I don't think that's a cantrip. I'm pretty sure that that is specifically not a cantrip. All right. That's creating food and drink. Create or destroy water. There we go. I... Okay, so I think that this is just bugged. Oh no. I was just looking at the top here where it says create food and water. This is create or destroy water. So it was correct. It's just that is a bug. Thank you, SRDs. So control water. This is not a cantrip. That's a 4th level transmutation spell. We cannot give that at level 1. Okay. 3rd level. It's still a lot. You know, Ray of Frost is pretty good as far as cantrips go. Now it is an attack. I don't know if we want to have our elementals create attacks. Now I know produce flame can be used as a thrown projectile in 5e, and I do think I'm going to keep that sort of mechanic when I port that spell over. But on the same hand, I think if there's anyone that's going to get a fire, or that's going to get something that can be used offensively, it's gonna be fire. Interesting. I don't even have a section for spells. Okay. Well, we will. No, no. We come up with it. We decide. Um, what is another sort of water thing? Water is all about being the element of change. It is all about um organization. It's all about moving. Everything is fluid. Everything is moving forward, progressing. Um, what about you? Okay. So I think we're gonna do a version of calm emotions here. No, we're just gonna make a comment about. Yeah, okay. You can cast. Okay, so calm emotions is going to be a spell, which makes my job a little bit harder here, but not much because we already have language for this. You can cast calm emotions at its base level a number of times equal to your charisma, I think. Yeah. All expended uses when you complete a long rest. Um, and what do we call this ability? It is water. It is flow. Um, we'll call it. No, I, I'm not. I'm not a big fan of calling things title XYZ. At least as far as this goes. It just doesn't sound right. You know what? It sounds kind of dumb, but we'll plug it in here as the Way of Water. It's it's a pretty meh title, but whatever. Right now, we're gonna make a note here. Uh, okay, so that is mostly just commenting to say it uh, that I know I have verbiage in this document somewhere else that is this spell is added to your spellcasting list if you have the spellcasting trait. So we want to throw that in there when I can find that. It's also noting that the Calm Emotion spell is going to be single target at first level. So we're going to be down ranking it in terms of 5e stuff. And then you can upcast it to get a Pacify Crowds, crowd control sort of ability similar to 5e. And then just it replaces Cold Tolerance in the document. All right. Half elves, you get the trance feature. Because once again, that is coming over from 5e, basically verbatim. We did nerf it slightly, so that it is a 6-hour rest instead of a 4-hour rest, but it is still quite good. Okay, so halfling. We said, oh, okay, right. So we're not going to create the three. So halflings are on this table. It's just not not going to be able to access halfling from the halfling ancestry. So you can, I guess, technically create a 3/4 but that turn of phrase will never appear in this book itself. Um, brave. Yeah, I still like this ability. This is good. You gain resistance. Well, hang on. Yeah, no, I think you just have resistance to the frightened condition. Um, we're just going to make a quick note here that this is there we go. All right, humans. Okay, this is powerful. I like it, but it's powerful. Um, so I'm going to nerf it slightly. Okay, increase 2 ability scores of your choice by 1, and gain proficiency with 1 skill associated with one of the proficiency with 1 skill associated with one of these ability scores. Okay. Orcs. Um, orcs get durable. Fair. When you're dealt bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage, you can use your reaction to resist the attack, granting you resistance to your choice of bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage until the start of your next turn. And then that is a recharge on a long rest. I'm going to buff that slightly to a short rest. Because this is a once per encounter sort of thing, not a once per day sort of thing. Okay. So the two that aren't on here now, but will be in the final, are Giantkin and Goblin. And so let's think here. Sorry about that. Um, let's see. So Giantkin, their whole thing, their whole deal would be they're well, okay, so they're big. Runes and such. I don't think that we're going to go runes with the core ancestry. Um, on one hand, we could do another tanking ability here. I don't know. Hmm. Honestly, if there is going to be an ancestry that gets you cold resistance, it should be giant because mountain's cold. Yeah, yeah, I think that that's going to be it. Um, so, okay, and cold damage honestly is going to be one of the damage types that you can get resistance to naturally through armor choice. So I don't feel bad about putting this on an ancestry since that means that they can. Uh, yeah, no, this is good. This is fine. This is not balance breaking. It wasn't balance breaking on the elemental water um, either. But like this will work. So goblins. I kind of like the idea of goblins getting a bit of a sort of a sneak attack feature here. So maybe it's a once, maybe it's a dexterity times per short rest. No, dexterity times per long rest. I don't know. You add like a D4 to your damage rolls. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with that. At least for right now, until we do like a bit of a adjustment or something like that. Do we? Okay, so wait, goblins are not SRD, so we can't really. We could call it Fury of the Small, but like that's a bit much. That's a bit too stepping on 5e's toes. Um. Uh. Let's just actually. You know what? Goblin weapons are usually kind of on the more crude side. They're kind of stone based sort of things. They're like more primitively carved and scavenged weapons. So we'll call this Jagged Edge. Sure. So this is going to be piercing or slashing damage only. Actually, wait. What if it was a bite? What if the goblin stabs you and then they bite you as well? Or like that that feels more goblin-y. That feels fun. Um uh as a part of the attack you can also bite them or scratch to deal additional damage. Um, bite a bit. Um, you deal an extra 1d4 slashing. You know, Let's see here. Once you use this ability, no, you can use this ability a number of times equal to your dexterity modifier. You gain back all expended uses. You complete a. Is this a long rest thing? I mean, because we do want our goblins to, you know, fight like goblins. um, no, but this is a half goblin. Yeah, this should be a goblin feature. This should not be a half goblin feature. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of copy and paste this stuff here. And we're just going to drop that into the Goblin tab. Boom, boom. There we go. And so we go back here to the mixed ancestry table. Let's do the jagged edge. That way it's similar, but it's not quite. No. Man. Goblins are kind of tricky here. Okay. So yeah, no. I think jagged edge will make sense. We can make it make sense. Make a melee weapon attack against another creature as a you deal an additional 1d4, and this will be just straight up slashing damage to the target creature. You can use this ability a number of times. Equal to your. Because I don't want this to be queued off the same modifier. Because the goblin is going to get feral attacks with, and that's going to skew off of dexterity. The one thing I really don't want to do is I don't want to make it so that you get more as a hobgoblin if you take the goblin here. So I think that well, we can fix that. That's easy to do. What am I thinking? So we're gonna queue this off of strength. Just because, it takes more effort to cut with a jagged edge than it does to. And so if you're using your strength modifier, you are cutting into and then you are ripping and tearing. And so that is going to be there. All expended uses when you complete a long rest. Uh, Uh, okay. Just notes to myself in the future. All right. There we go. So that's kind of going to be our half ancestry table. So let's just kind of do a quick recap here. So for all of the ancestries that have the and half something, so like half dwarves, hobgoblins, demi-humans, giant kin, half orcs, um, half elves, and I think there's one other in here. You will get some of the half dwarf ancestry here will get. Let me just kind of go to it here. You get a couple of the standard dwarven abilities here. I think those are just the standard. Yeah, those are the standard ones. So you'll get some of the standard dwarven abilities here, and then you get this trait here called mixed parentage. And so you get a feature from this table of your choice to reflect your other parent. Realistically, you would not get the dwarf one just because that is already a part of your base kit. But like a half dwarf who has an air elemental as one of their parents, they get the gust cantrip or the mold earth cantrip for an earth. A dwarf and a goblin, you get the jagged edge in addition to your other half dwarf features. So yeah, that's kind of how half ancestries work here, and we just found, recovered, and restored the table that we couldn't find last time. So I say that that is a massive success. So thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.